Please post your questions in the LinkedIn comment section, and we'll try to get to them as we go along. If you have something that's of interest to you that you want to hear about, now's the time to ask it, especially if we're talking transformative veteran experience, and we'll do that. So, with all that done, with that introduction, I'm delighted to welcome Ms. Carrie Lee. Carrie, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you to introduce yourself and talk about sort of what your role is with OIT and PES in general.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ron. So I'm Carrie Lee. I'm the Deputy Chief Information Officer of the Product Engineering Service at VA. So I run our product engineering services, and it's really a privilege to have this role because I think I have the best product engineering team in all of government.
Nice.
We have very cool work we do related to digital transformation, IT services, and around data and analytics. And I am very lucky to have this role leading this team of great technologists.
Great. So how long have you been at VA?
I've been at VA for 4 years now. And the whole time in OINT, I started out in our Office of Information Security, and now have moved over to the product engineering space and came in as a senior technical advisor, and now I'm leading the organization.
Awesome, and it's terrific to have you. So you talk about PES, and you think you have you say you have the best product engineering group in all of government. What sort of things is PES doing? What is the work that you guys all work? Some folks that are tuning in may well know what product engineering is, but some folks maybe aren't totally sure with some of the things that VA does. So what is some of the work that you all do?
Okay, so within product engineering, we work in several areas. One of the important parts of product engineering is our Digital Transformation Center, and that deals with software as a service and low-code platforms. We also have our API platforms, our veteran-facing digital experiences, and our data and analytics portfolio, which deals with all the data and analytics needs of the enterprise.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we talk a lot about on this show and elsewhere and across VA and OIT about digital transformation, and parts of that are what Mr. Delbany puts in as far as his vision and what he wants out of us is delightful end user experience and and all that. So what sort of role does PES play, and it's a big one, in the digital transformation for OIT?
All right, so like I said, we have software as a service and low-code platforms. So as we're transforming and making decisions on modernization, First, we look at reuse and reusing existing capabilities rather than creating something new that might be duplicative. The second thing we look at is if a software as a service tool is available for use versus building our own, because there's already a lot of commercial sector offerings that are excellent that will give veterans the same experience they get in their day-to-day lives. The next thing we look at are our low-code platforms because they're a lot faster to deliver than building a complete new solution from scratch. But if there's no software as a service or low-code platform, then we look at custom development. And as we look at modernization across the enterprise, we also look at modernizing our data platforms and through the Summit data platform, and modernizing our identity credential access management program.
Okay, so there's a lot of pieces to that.
Yeah.
One thing we could, as I said, it's a big job.
It's a big job.
Let's break it down a little bit. Let's go with the Summit data platform. What you mentioned that. Could you explain a little bit what that is and what that means to VA and its importance?
Yes. So Summit Data Platform is VA's standard source for all veteran experience and health data. And it provides VA with an enterprise data lake that facilitates the interoperability of key data platforms and ensures consistent and secure access to data regardless of its system of origin or curation. It enables us to do evidence-based decision-making and improve outcomes for veterans and their families through the delivery of data insights to veterans and VA employees across administrations. So most people have heard of our corporate data warehouse, which is our legacy health data warehouse, and is most likely the largest data warehouse in the world.
Wow.
And what we're doing is modernizing it. And the Sediment Data Platform is partially the modernization of that health warehouse. And so through Summit, we'll be able to make data available for AI use cases, for analytic purposes, to really drive decisions at VA based on data. And if people in OINT are interested in Summit, they can check out the Summit Center of Excellence SharePoint page at https://dva.gov, sharepoint.com/sites, and oitbissel/cdwnGCOE. And I think that will be put into the chat so people can see. But it really is a very important piece of work that we're doing within product engineering.
Yeah, as with anything, the stuff that we share externally, anything like that, we can follow up. And again, keep putting your questions in, because even the questions that we don't get to, we follow up with.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about warehouses. The other thing I heard you talk about a second ago was a factory, software factory.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about the software factory. What are the concepts about the software factory, and what does that mean again in VA?
Okay, yeah, it's a very VA context when we're talking software factory, and it's a delivery model we're using to fulfill our needs to rapidly leverage, innovate technology, and maintain usability and security of VA's mission. The catchphrase is better, safer, faster.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to enable through our software factory. And what we're doing is standardizing around delivery methods and interfacing with what we're calling utilities, which are common services that are used across VAs, things like identity access management or security logging. And so if a new request comes in for development work or any type of capability that IT provides, we will look at it and route it to one of our factories that is very standard around the way they deliver, and it allows us to deliver faster in a methodical way, keep everything secure, and really transform VA's digital experiences. Our first factories that have gone live are our software as a service factory, we have a low-code factory, and we have 4 development platforms that we've certified through this factory model, so that we can start really standardizing the way we deploy things and do it faster and more secure.
So better, faster, safer.
Better, faster, safer.
We'll have to team with Daft Punk and make a song.
I know.
Kanye West joke.
Kanye West,
yeah.
I know.
I had to sneak it in.
Theme song for the software factory.
Sure. Okay, so in the grand scheme of things, these are sort of technical definitions and things that we're doing, but what does this mean for the veteran experience? That's one thing that's also key to our digital transformation. Everything we do that's outwardly facing is to improve the veteran experience and to make it easier and more efficient for them. So what does all of this sort of mean to veterans as far as the veteran experience?
Well, so our goal is to meet veterans where they are and provide them with a delightful, modern digital experience when they interact with VA. We want all of their digital interactions to be seamless, and so they don't know if they're talking to someone from VHA, from VBA, when they're using the digital tools, enrolling in services. It's like, come to one place, you come to VA. You don't worry about where in VA you're going. And so we are supporting being proactive in our digital communications with veterans. So just say eligibility changes for a veteran, rather than having the veteran having to figure that out. We want to be able to say, hey, you might be eligible for this now, and proactively let them know. So it's changing the way we're working with veterans. Another key piece to what we're doing is looking at user research, talking to staff, talking to veterans, and consulting with industry to drive a modern digital experience with veterans. I mean, we have the most noble mission in the federal government, serving veterans and taking care of them. And we want to make sure every veteran experience is exceptional.
Awesome. So to that end, we've talked about the technical stuff. We've talked about the veteran experience. What are some things that veterans, caregivers, survivors can look forward to in 2024 that your team and OIT in general are working on with some of the other administrations?
Yeah, so one of the key efforts we're working on right now is the modernization of the CRM that supports our Veteran Crisis Line. And for those who don't know, the Veteran Crisis Line is like the suicide hotline for veterans. It's really important work. We need to give them modern tools that are reliable and are there for the mental health workers who are manning that call center. And so that's one of our key initiatives. Another one is
what are we doing on the VCL specifically to make that better?
so we're taking a custom code legacy software that's a single instance, and we are actually modernizing it into a low-code platform to where we have standardized workflows, a lot of resiliency involved, and to better serve those people manning the call centers.
And I imagine that's important, when we went to 988 and
Yes.
things like that the call volume increased. So this is more our contribution to VA. Correct me if I'm wrong. Making things more efficient to make people better at their jobs, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So I didn't mean to interrupt
Better
you.
serving veterans.
Yes, yep, and in the end, better serving veterans, of
Yes.
course. So you were going with another one that we can look forward to in 2024.
So we're expanding our VA Health Connect system. VA Health Connect is the first national clinical call center that we offer to veterans. Veterans can call in, they can talk to a nurse. We even have a use case around tele-emergency care. We're expanding and looking at other things like mental health or connecting with a specialty provider. And we're expanding it. I think we probably have hit about 70% of the nation, VA nationwide.
Wow.
And we're expanding to the full overall VA, as well as adding additional use cases. And so it's a significant effort. I think there's about 45 million callers per year to that call center.
Holy cow, 45 million. Just the scale of things that we do here is shocking to people. So
And
another one like the data marketplace. Oh, go ahead.
Data marketplace. So what we're doing with that is really allowing people to see what data do we have at VA, what can be used in decision making, identify where that lives, and be able to use it to help drive those data-driven decisions. And another really big initiative we're doing in product engineering is increasing our workforce. Like I said, we have the best product engineering team in government. We are expanding. Actually, we have a hiring fair coming up on October 24th, the Tech to Gov hiring fair. And one of the cool things about our organization, just overall, VA is the largest civilian federal agency in government. We have a very complex environment and unique problems to solve with a noble mission. And so it's a great place to work. It's a great place to use engineering talent. We're putting a lot of effort into user experience, human-centered design, and you really get to see the impact of your work with veterans working here.
Yeah.
So we encourage all technologists to apply for jobs here.
And last month we talked about special salary rate with Nate. And so if you want to go back and get more information on that, you can look at last month's talking text. So we're hiring, we're doing cool stuff, and we're paying people
and we have an amazing mission.
And we have the best mission. The joke I started making, we were talking to the team about this beforehand, is we may wake up and come to work and question the how and have disagreements on that, but you never wake up and question the why.
The why.
That's a great thing to have, I think. Okay, so we talked about the interactive parts. Any other projects that you want to bring up, or do you want to get to the Q&A?
I think we can get to the Q&A.
Let's do the Q&A. Okay, so we've got a bunch of questions that have come in, and so thank you to everyone that has. We've got just about 15 minutes left, so that's great. We've got half the show to come there, and if you have questions on coming to the organization or anything like that, we can take some of those questions as well. So the first one here in the queue. What are the challenges faced in integrating the multitude of new technologies and data platforms like SDP with the existing systems?
There's several challenges. So we have a lot of legacy systems, and being able to integrate with those legacy systems that may have been built 10, 15 years ago that don't use modern technology standards is sometimes a challenge, but we get around that. Another piece is as we change technology, bring new technologies in, we have to provide those the ability to obtain those skill sets to our current workforce. And we do things like training programs, online training, et cetera, to provide those the ability to gain those skill sets, but it's always a challenge as technology changes, keeping up with all those technology changes with the workforce.
Yeah, I know you mentioned, and it's struck in a lot of areas, how sometimes you have the legacy systems and you're building new things over the top, and then you're integrating something from the outside.
Yeah.
And that is immensely challenging. I've only been here for 5 months, and I see it myself, and I'm just a comms guy. Okay. So great question. We got another one here. Are there specific feedback mechanisms? So we talk about, this is a great question. We talk about the veteran experience. How do you improve the veteran experience? Well, you got to have veteran feedback. So what mechanisms are there for veterans to provide feedback?
Well, so we have it's called V-Signals, and it's a survey program where we send out surveys to veterans where they can provide feedback. But we also have the ability to, we do things like Net Promoter Score. As I mentioned, we do a lot of user research, prototyping, sitting down with veterans to get their feedback throughout the development process to ensure that whatever we develop for veterans actually meets their needs, and we're not developing in a silo.
Okay. And I know we do a lot of that with veterans of all different challenges and things like that, especially 508, which is something we're going to talk about in the future Talking Tech, of how we help with accessibility and things like that. Okay, so continuing down that thread, how has feedback from veterans directly influenced the improvement and introduction of new services post-pandemic?
Okay, so feedback from veterans, interviews, and surveys was critical to developing the VA mobile flagship app. So during the pandemic, veteran feedback also drove the prioritization of certain features on the app, such as prescription refills, which launched in 2023. And if anyone hasn't heard of our VA flagship mobile app, you can find it on the App Store, and it is highly, highly rated, and is a great new addition to VA's technology suite.
And we're constantly adding to that, correct?
Oh yeah, we're constantly adding new capabilities.
Okay. Yeah, to plug that further, and we've done it a fair amount on this program, but we can't say it enough. Almost 2 million downloads, 4.8 in the App Store, which is on par with Amazon, USAA, things like that, and 4.6 on the Android store. So maybe the Android users are just more critical. I don't know. But
or I was gonna say, I'm glad you know the stats.
Yeah,
because I don't know the stats offhand.
That is a comms person. What I am good at is memorizing the stats, so we can put that in there. So we can't say that enough with the mobile app. We're constantly taking that information in, and that's how you get a rating that's 4.8. Is people are happy with it, and we're constantly adding to that.
And it's not like 2 users with 4.8 stars.
No.
It's tons of
almost
users.
90,000 reviews, I think, last time I looked at.
Wow.
So, but constantly improving. There's more to it, right?
Yeah. But, there's always new features being added.
Okay. To the next question. We're going rapid fire here. Do the software factories, we're back to factories, exist within the different centers of excellence? That must be a staff member that asked that question. Do the software factories exist within the different centers of excellence? So you might have to explain what the centers of excellence is.
I was going to say, within Software Factory, we've created Center of Excellences. So those center of excellences are things around software as a service delivery, low-code delivery, and then our various different development platforms that we've certified. So each one of those has a center of excellence within it.
Okay. All this talk about excellence makes me want to make a Bill and Ted joke, but now I'm really getting into
Oh, excellent adventure.
now I'm getting into a really niche audience.
I knew what it was.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody here. Lou does. He's laughing here in the back. All right, so is VA going to reuse DoD's software factory model, which has already produced incredible benchmarks in software delivery and ANA?
So VA is doing its own type of software factory where we are doing more than just custom development, but we're doing software as a service and low-code services. One of the key pieces of the DoD software factory is the continuous ATO. We have been able to achieve continuous ATO on our Lighthouse delivery infrastructure, which is one of the custom development platforms that are within our software factory. But we have more than custom development as an option, which is what differs from the way DoD implemented software factory.
Okay. And we could throw that bucket in with another one of the challenges of fitting different pieces in, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question, is the software provided through your different factories, i.e. software as a service, low code, no code, tested with the actual end users, i.e. veterans, employees, like ward clerks, et cetera? Do we test that with veterans and employees who are going to be using it?
Yeah, for well, software as a service, as you know, are commercial offerings. So they are available commercially. So I assume veterans use them. We do, we use products that will enable veterans to do what they need to do. But as far as our low-code development, as well as our custom software development from the software factories, we do user research.
Okay.
We do human-centered design. So yes, they are tested with employees and veterans throughout the development process.
Okay. Gonna hit another one here. Can you talk about efforts around ICAM modernization?
Yeah, so we have a legacy ICAM system. I think it's around 13 years old. And what we're doing now is looking at new capabilities to be able to provide to replace the original system. The ICAM landscape has changed significantly in the last 15 years. And so we're looking at potentially software as a service platforms for ICAM or even COTS-based services, but we're right now in the investigation stages. We do have, I think we sent out an RFI over the summer to learn more about how industry is handling ICAM across the board to help inform what we're doing next with it. It's a brand new effort at VA, and we'll see how it plays out over the next year.
Okay. Got another question here from online. It says, rather than relying solely on data-driven decisions, what methods and theories have been considered to transform big data into information?
See, I'm not 100% sure how to answer that. I think what they're asking is like what type of analytics we're doing, or potentially.
Sure, we can talk about that. What methods and theories? We just do the last part there.
Okay.
What sort of methods and theories do we do to transfer big data? Are there any examples, for instance, that maybe we've used big data to transform?
Yeah. So we've done things like we have a use case where we're looking at lung cancer incidences and using that to predict potential precancer, as well as looking at we have this Reach Vet program where we're looking at data about veterans and determining if they are high risk, such as doing things like missing appointments or not refilling their prescriptions, and in those cases they could be considered high risk, so we reach out to them, and it has enabled us to lower our rates of suicide with these veterans.
Wow.
So they can be really impactful, these use cases, and I hope that's what they were getting at with the question. But
at any rate, it's always good to have the use case and what applicable things, and I know I worked a lot with the Million Veteran Program when I was in VHA, and they're close to 1 million. I know that's another big data set that they're looking to do there. So I'll do a plug for them as they get close to 1 million. You can look them up, the MVP program. This one I don't know if we'll have an answer to, but we'll ask it. Do we have any idea when Cerner Health may be incorporated into the mobile app?
I do not know.
We don't
it's something we can go back and see if it's on the roadmap yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So we'll take that one down and follow up on that one. What steps is VA taking to better share data with DoD and community care? I know this is a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
How else does VA expect better data sharing will improve veteran care? So what are we doing to share? And
yeah, let's take DoD.
Sure.
So with DoD, we actually have some governance boards that we work to get, and working groups to work on how we're going to share data and figuring out the best way to share data. And things like the Patronage Act, where we share caregiver and disabled veteran status, so they can go out to military bases and access the commissaries. That's one of the big problems we're working on right now, is figuring out how to share that data. And we've been meeting with DoD, coming up with joint plans, and trying to push these projects forward where we can share the data necessary to be able to do things like use the commissary through automated means and make that veteran experience better.
Wow. So not only are we finding ways to, with cancer and reducing suicide and all the way down to helping people get access to commissary. It's amazing the ways we can leverage tech.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have time for just about one more here. And again, thank you to everyone who's asked questions online. We will follow up as much as we can, bucket those up. And this one is sort of a general one. How much feedback from veteran users is implemented back into the product as improvement? So I don't know if the mobile app is maybe an example. Is prescription something veterans said they wanted, or is there other cases where veterans have said that they wanted certain things and we've improved it?
I think there's a lot of cases of that. I mean, when we get that veteran feedback, we actually use it with our business partners in the Veteran Experience Office to improve our products across the board. So I think we take all the veteran feedback and we look at how can it make our products better, and based on that, we improve the products. Another big initiative we have is looking at unmet veteran needs, and we've done a lot of research around that. And now we're trying to prioritize the features we add to products and the new capabilities we deliver based on those unmet needs, which we gained using veteran research and feedback. Okay.
And one last plug I'll put in there too. You mentioned the Veteran Service Office and our partners there in V-Signals. And so the importance of veterans taking those surveys when they come to you, I promise you, we look deeply into those. We look at them in the comms world and what's in there and what veterans are sharing, not just locally, but generally to improve.
Because our goal is to make a better veteran experience.
Correct. Yep.
So we want to hear from veterans, and we want to improve whatever we can improve to help veterans.
Yeah, whether it's the tech or the comms that we're delivering to you, and so the importance of those surveys are super critical. Okay, that's about all the time we have today. Carrie, thank you so much. This was super informative. I know I'm always excited to hear about, I have a couple ideas of things that we can do comms-wise coming out of this. So,
great.
Thank you so much for joining. That's it for this month's Talking Tech. We'll be back again in a few weeks as we talk about accessibility and some other things. Also mentioned next week begins Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So for those of you in the tech world looking for comms around that and cybersecurity, we're going to do a whole comms plan around that throughout the month of October as we try to make sure veterans and caregivers are protected, and staff there. So that's all we have for today. Thanks again, Carrie. Thanks again to the folks here in the ITWD studio. My name is Ron Haskell. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Be well.